Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Coach's Corner University podcast. I am your host, Paul O'Neid, and today I'm joined by someone who I had the pleasure of meeting, I believe in December 2023 at a business mastermind in Virginia. He is a close friend of Justin Kavanaugh, Gary Mahabir. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yep, you got it.
Perfect.
Spot on.
Gary, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you, Paul. You're the man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you. So I know a little bit about you. I know you're from Trinidad. I know you work with Cav. I know that you work primarily with high-level C-suite CEOs. I know that you are in great shape for any age, but I'd love to know a little bit more about your story. How'd you get to where you are today?
Sure. Uh, I have a long history. I'm 55 years old,
Mm-hmm.
55 years young, and I started at a ripe young age at 9, meaning I got bitten by the iron bug when I was around 9 years old. I have an uncle who's still alive today. His name is Mr. Austin, who was just incredibly jacked and did everything under the sun. He would run 12 miles, go to the gym, work out for 2 hours, and then go wrestle. The man is a savage. And I and I remember watching him do all these incredible feats. And my brother and I have an older brother. We would go visit, and it turned out he had all these magazines. I would go through his magazine, and it turned out he had one of the first issues of Muscle Builder. I think it was a 1974 issue, and
Okay.
this might have been 1979. And I remember seeing it's the one where Arnold Schwarzenegger has the head of Lou Ferrigno, and he says, "Bring me the head of Lou Ferrigno." Very famous magazine, the original one. And I remember thumbing through the magazine, and thinking, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. I want to be like these guys. In addition to which, my uncle, Mr. Austin, had sort of planted those seeds. And so the rest was history. By the time I was 9, 10, I was a chubby little kid. But by the time I was 9 or 10, my dad bought us a weight set, and then I went to a high school that was one of the first high school, Queens Royal College, to have to raise money, and we got one of the old Universal multi-station
Mm-hmm.
pieces. We put that together, and then that was it. As they say in England, Bob's your uncle. I was off to the races. I played a lot of sports, but by the time I started lifting, I started seeing results. I just took to it. I saw that I was strong and my physique was changing, and I think you could understand this because I think you have a similar story, as do many people. When you're a little bit overweight, or maybe you're on
Mm-hmm.
the other side, you're skinny, and you change your body, or you transform your body, there is this insecurity. There is this piece of you that you want to hide away, and you want to build this armor to protect you because you want to become superhero.
I have a tattoo. I have a tattoo of armor on my forearm for that exact reason, my man.
Exactly. I think the story is universal. I think we're all connected in some way, and that's what it felt like. So, as I went through that phase from the ages of 10 to around 19 to 18, I did track and field. I got stronger. I competed in discus, shot put, javelin. I did some sprints, and then I did a couple of bodybuilding shows. By the time I was 21, I had moved to America. So I grew up in Trinidad. I moved to America at 21 years old, and my body, I was pretty big when I saw, for my age, and I had a lot of experience. And then I competed in some bodybuilding shows. But I did that for about 10 years, maybe almost a decade, and then I got a little bit tired of it. I dabbled in martial arts, and when I discovered Muay Thai here in America, being an immigrant coming to a new country, I wasn't a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of wasn't yet a full adult. I was still finding myself. It was this strange place. I found a community amongst my Muay Thai um, uh, uh, comrades, if you will. By 1999, I was full on in Muay Thai. I was competing, and I competed for about 6, 7 years. By that time, fighting was very underground,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in New York City. We would have to go to Virginia. We would go to Puerto Rico. You'd fight in somebody's underground gym in a basement. So it wasn't what it was today. So I had a couple fights. I ended up with that formed what would be, I would consider, the crux of all fighting in New York City, came from crew Phil Nurse, and the team of my colleagues who were still very good friends today. And people sort of branched off and fight game changed in New York City. I did that for many years. I became a Renzo Gracie Muay Thai instructor, and I trained teams. I trained individual athletes, and but all that time, I became when I moved to New York in 1991, I became certified as a fitness coach.
Okay.
So and this is a long history. Again,
No, it's great.
this is my 30 years in health and fitness. I started in 1991, and even while I was competing as a bodybuilder and competing in Muay Thai, my career was a personal trainer.
Okay.
And so I've seen a lot of things under the sun. You name it, I've seen it. And so I've been doing that for 30 years. So that's my history.
Now, are you still doing in-person training now, or is it like fully remote?
No, I am now back in person training.
Okay.
In 2017, my wife and I, we opened a private studio here in Brooklyn. We did that for going on almost 3 years before when the pandemic hit. Naturally, we were shut during the pandemic, and when it was time to reopen, we looked at the books and we looked at the realities of what it was going to take to reopen, and we
Mm.
decided, we're gonna have to call that it's a day. We're gonna have to sort of cut our losses. I went 100% online, so this is 2021.
Okay.
I've been online for about 4 years, and then slowly I started to work with one-on-one clients, and because you understand how this is that we love to coach people, we love to get our hands on people, and online coaching is extremely valuable. It's one of the, I would say, the blessings of the pandemic.
I would agree.
It opened up people, general population, to the understanding and the notion that they could actually train with someone without having to geographically be in the same place.
Hmm.
So that was great. But for you and I think and for a lot of other people, we miss the touch, the human touch. And I think generally people do really well. Most people do really well with the human touch and the connection. So I'm back to one-on-ones. I'm back training personally. Currently work with CEOs and men, busy executive men over 40, and I love it. But so 2025 is going to be a new year for me. I'm going to be really diving deep into the one-on-ones, and people will see me more kind of like more widespread. And my passion is I love to speak, and I'm doing corporate events and speaking to small teams because that's really where I feel like I can also expand my reach.
I love it, man. I love it. The common thread here for me is that you found something that you loved. And this is something that I've had on my mind quite a bit lately is
Mm,
if you find something that you love, you'll work harder at it and you'll be more successful because for you, it's fun. And for everyone else, it's work.
yeah.
Like I look forward to going to like, I would look forward. I get up, even now I'm up at 3:30 in the morning cause I can't sleep because I'm so lean. Um, I make my cup of coffee, I sit at my desk and I happily start communicating with my clients. It's
Right.
just, it's just beautiful. And what I also love is that you realize that the online space is great, but your passion lies in the in person. So there's no rules to this. You can do both.
You can do both.
And in my opinion, it might be even more profitable to have a hybrid business because you can generate more revenue per client. I'd love for you to contrast with me the difference between an in person and an online training relationship because I feel like one of the benefits that I had going into the online space was I was used to working in chaotic in person environments and
Mm.
creating relationships. So when I got online, it was just, okay, well, I'm just going to do the same thing, but it's going to be through DM, video, voice, as opposed to in person. I was relatively successful. But I think a lot of young coaches now, they don't have that in person experience.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that is a very good point. And in addition to which, we live in a social media, Instagram, social media platform where young coaches see more advertisements for, hey, come be an online coach. So they start there. It's almost as if this new generation of trainers and coaches uh, perceive that as the starting point. And so I'm not going to knock that because you and I both believe the same things. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible to do both. But there is a level of expertise and experience that comes with being in person and working with people one on one or in small group that you cannot learn if you start online
Agreed.
But vice versa, if we start one-on-ones in small group, we can translate that. We can go the opposite way. That's easier to do. So that's how I stand. And I'm not knocking some of these younger trainers. I think they need to broaden, not be so myopic, and look and see, okay, what am I missing here? What else is here that I need to add to my repertoire to be really, really, really effective and great?
That's a really good point. And one of the things that I found while you were talking, the thought that came to my head was coaches are so quick to get a new certification or take
Yeah,
a course,
yeah,
but ultimately, and I think you'll agree with me, your ability to get results from your clients is based on your ability to communicate with them, to understand them, to form relationships. There's no course where you can learn that. The only way to learn that is to coach in person. So, where the solution to your problem of I can't get my clients results isn't another course, it's
right.
just, dude, just go spend more time on the gym floor.
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts about that. I have a couple of thoughts, and so I'm gonna try to keep them really in line and not go off on a tangent. I think when I met you in 2023, I've watched you the last couple of years. One of the things that strike me really, really obvious about you is how careful you are with your communication,
Mm,
how thoughtful you are with choosing words to express truly what you want to come across. And communication is the number one tool in anything, in coaching and teaching, because it doesn't matter how much you know. What matters is what you can translate or teach someone else, get the idea across. And people learn different ways, of course. Some people are kinesthetic, some people are tactile, some people are auditory. But a lot of it starts with words. You have to show, and then you have to say it, and then you have to show it. So I have watched you over the years, and I think you do a fantastic job in communicating, meaning what you say, and having that come across. That is also, in my opinion, part of a personal development. It's a self-awareness and almost an understanding of, okay, who am I and what can I do to allow this process to happen more effectively. I think
mm.
you're one of the best that I have noticed at doing
That's
it.
that's a huge compliment, Gary. Thank you very much.
It's true. I wouldn't say it, and it's almost from the first time I met you. I remember you sitting in the back of the room, and I was thinking, who is this guy who's like eating everything, eating every 2.5 hours with his containers of food. Um, but the truth is that from the day one, you were articulate, you were careful, you were thoughtful, and people will gloss over that particular aspect. But the truth is that is where most people, including myself, it's where the work is where the magic can happen.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot to be said, and the differences between training online and training in person has a lot to do with how you communicate and what happens in the communication. Because online communication has some nuance to it, having more touch points, having people check in, and those kinds of things. But when you're in person, if I have a client come in, this is common. Someone asked me about this the other day. Um, someone comes in and they're ready to go. This is classic scenario. They're like, all right, let's go time. Like, guy just came coming up from the office. He's like coming to the end of his day. His end of coming to the end of his day is like, 5, 6. He's probably gonna go back to the office. He's not quite done yet. But he wants to get his workout in. He
Right.
comes in, he's ready to go. All right, great, let's go. And then, we start moving, we start the warm up, but I see something isn't quite there. He's not moving the way he normally moves. I can see his eyes moving around. I can see something turning his head. He's like, hey, John, like, what's going on? Like, you don't quite seem focused. Like, anything you want to talk about? No, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm like, hey, you sure? We do a couple more things, and then I'm like, stop. I'm like, what's going on? Finally, you get him to sort of like let out, man, I had this colleague that did this, and like this email didn't quite go through. It wasn't what I wanted to say. He came back with something that offended me. So we talk it out. He blasts some expletives. He's like, F this, F that. But then he's good. 12 minutes later, he's good. So we created a space and a clearing for him to get that out. That's off his chest now.
Mm.
Now he can move freely. He's got less in his mind, and we can get to what we need to get done. So it took 12 minutes or so, but now I can get a productive 48 minutes from him.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't, that wouldn't have happened.
Just
That's
through
communication.
just through communication. And I've always been a big believer that the words you choose shape the reality that you see. Right? Perception is reality, and your perception is shaped by the words that you use. And so when you're in a situation where things are challenging, the way that I'll use my own experience right now as an example. So, bodybuilding prep, for anyone who's unfamiliar, I mean, you've been through preps, you know what it's like. You're fatigued, you're tired.
Yeah.
For me, instead of focusing on my fatigue, instead of focusing on my hunger, I'm focusing on the gratitude that I have for the fact that I can actually do this because I was in a wheelchair a year ago,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm focused on the fact that I actually registered for this show so that I could endure the hardship, right? So there's a different mentality around the way that I shape my words to apply to my reality, and it completely shifts how I look at the challenge that's in front of me. And I think that's a tool that we can teach our clients to use, and I'm sure that's a tool that you teach your clients to use, especially because you're working with older men who
Yeah.
may feel limited in their ability to perform physically, whereas on the counter side, they're fucking killers in a boardroom.
Yeah. 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 That's 100% true. And I like to think of this, some people, the people that know me the longest, they call me Zen Gary. I love it because, there's no separation for life and training. To me, training is life. Training is a metaphor for life,
Agreed.
right? And I think you believe the same thing. And one of the things that I teach them is I say, hey, was that set? How was that set? Oh man, that set was hard. I'm like, okay, it was hard, but guess what? What did you do? Well, I focused and I was able to get through it. I go, great. I said, this is what life is. I said, life is a series of challenges and resistance. Oftentimes, you have peaks and valleys, and when you're in a valley, it's a form of resistance. I said, so you what we're doing is we're reminding you that you can do hard things,
Mm-hmm.
and hard things don't have to break you. They can put you down, and they can put you out for a bit, but we know it's just temporary because in all training, we break down so we can build you back up.
Yeah. I
That's process.
I've always loved the concept of anti-fragility. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, yeah,
Like the fact that, hardship will actually improve your resilience instead of making you weaker. We face challenges to harden us. We don't face challenges because they beat us down. Um, you mentioned in your form for the podcast of concepts you wanted to discuss. You mentioned you're eliminating aging words from your vocabulary. What do you mean by that?
yeah, man. So I'm gonna try to articulate this because this is something I've been toying with for the last, I would say, 6 months.
Okay.
So I turned 55 June 17 this year. I turned 55 years young, and I have this really good friend of mine. Also, she's a colleague that I refer people to. She is a medical hypnotherapist, Lisa Ludovici.
Okay.
And her and we have exceptional conversations. But she challenges every notion that I have about anything. If she sees that there's a hole, there's a gap, she'll have something really
Oh,
unique.
that's so valuable in a friend, man.
It's amazing.
So valuable.
And sometimes she catches me off guard because
Of course.
I'm just talking, and then she's like, "Well, what about that? Like, why would you think that?" I'm like, "Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit." So it's so valuable, right?
Mm.
And not too many people, or not enough people, probably have people like that in your life. And I'm lucky, and I'm sure you have, because you said it, you have a few people like that, or at least one person. So she started to challenge my concept because I'm a big birthday guy. I'm a
Okay.
big birthday man. I love birthdays. As a man, I love birthdays. And it's not the every year it's like whatever number it is. It's simply because I think that you were born on that day and it's your special day. And I love that. I love that idea. So I'm not attached to calling it special day. It's Paul's special day. But she started questioning the number attached to it, and that we've been programmed since we were born that every year we add to our chronology, we're getting closer to an end point.
Right.
And what did we see growing up is we saw our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts age, and we saw them with a particular trajectory and an end result. Oftentimes, we see them sort of kind of get decrepit and invalid and slow down.
Right.
And we see it everywhere, not just with our families and relatives, but we see it everywhere. We see people disrespect older people, uh, devalue
Mm-hmm.
our elders. I'm at a point where I go, and I follow certain people and I subscribe to. They use more in many cultures. Elders are revered. We have an elder council
Right.
because we treasure them. But in our community here, particularly in America, in North America, that's not so true. We kind of take our elderly people and we put them away to pasture. We have them disappear. Right, other sight, other mind. Let's go
Right.
to let's go to the old folks home. So there is this storyline for people as we get older that is programmed into our subconscious mind, and as we count the years, we we expect a decline. And even if we know physically, we know consciously, like, nah, I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Our programming is such that if that is such that from the past, such that we're going to decline somewhere in the back of our subconscious mind, that programming is there, and we reiterate, we keep feeling it a little bit with the chronological numbers, then we might be adding to it. So that's what I mean by that in a nutshell. So what I'm saying is, being conscious and purposeful about the words we use surrounding how we mature and we move through life is important. And I'm going to probably say more about it as we move on in my career, because it's something that I keep thinking about, and because I'm in the space that I am in,
Yeah.
55, it's important for me. And I had my own issues. And we could talk about this. There's not too many people know this, but I had an arthritic left hip diagnosed about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back at it, when I look back at when the onset was, it was right around 4950. And granted, I've done more than almost of my life. I've done
A lot of
physical activity,
mileage on those
a
body on
lot of
that
my
body.
but a lot of mileage. So I'm not gonna discount that, but I also can't discount that there is a notion that as that age, as it approached, there was a gap that allowed my body to sort of slip into some kind of mode, because it wasn't just the hip. There were also things that I started to think about. Oh my gosh, like at 50 now, like what's next for me? You know what I mean? These subtle uh, aspects of thinking that could be pushing an agenda in the background.
Mm.
So here I am, rethinking how we think about aging, rethinking about how we want to move forward. And the last part of this is, I will say, when things like that start to show up, meaning injuries, things like arthritis, shoulder issues, it's which one is first, the chicken or the egg? We don't know, right? Because as you said, I have a lot of mileage. Um, but at the same time, if that injury lingers on for enough time, you start to adopt the characteristics of the injury. And one of
Agreed.
the things one of the things I didn't realize was that I had been depressed for about 2 to 3 years because I couldn't get my body to do what it had previously done for the last 45 years. And I sat in that place for a long time before it surfaced, and it occurred to me because I had a discussion with a really smart practitioner from Active Life Pro. This is Sean Hatuch's company, a gentleman called Larry. We had a conversation, and he said, you became your injury. And it was a light bulb moment for me when I saw, yeah, I became my injury. I had sat in that for so long that I almost didn't want to go out and do one-on-one sessions because I couldn't move the way I couldn't demonstrate. I couldn't move around the city. And until that conversation happened, I realized that, oh, this is who I'm becoming, or who I've become to a degree, is that I've actually become my injury. And I know a lot of older people, or people who are more mature, who who accept these injuries, who accept these limitations, and they become the limitation.
Mm,
And that's the danger in sitting there. And so, like, I've never said this to anyone. Like, this is because this is a fairly recent revelation where I had to look back and I saw, man, I was like, you actually a little depressed. Like, I'm not like wallowing in my own sorrow, but I was not myself.
right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. I, what resonates with me is that, the mentality that I've always had around training and, the parallels of life is that we go through these seasons. And now that I'm a little bit older, I'll be 38 this year. I look at, okay, I've played high level sports. I played basketball in college. I have been one of the strongest people on the planet. I have, gotten lean and stepped on a bodybuilding stage. And I look at the goals that I have for life right now and I say, okay, well, because of my injury history, I probably will not never be one of the strongest people on the planet again. I'm also not willing to make the choices that would be required in order to do that. So that's off the table.
Yeah.
I can still compete in bodybuilding, but at 38, picking it up when I did, I'm not going pro, right? So I'm not going to push myself to that level. Again, also not willing to make the choices that are required to do that. And then I say, well, there's always something that I can get better at physically. And one of the areas that I've neglected over the years is physical conditioning, athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
So my next journey for me, my next season is going to be focused on regaining my athleticism, regaining my physical capacity, regaining my conditioning. And that's a season that I can jump into as a beginner, as someone who has a large runway of progression that's super motivating, and I can just start anew. And I think what we have to help our clients realize is that there is always something that you can get better at. There is always something that you can improve on. And as you work towards those improvements, you can move further away from that identity. When I tore both my quads, I could have easily just been the guy with bad knees.
Yeah.
It would have been
You
really
could have just
easy.
given it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been really easy. But I knew for a fact that I wasn't going to allow the injury to define me. I also have the tools and the structure and the mental fortitude to make that happen. But I don't think a lot of people have that same, we'll call it cognitive makeup
Mm-hmm.
in fitness, but they have it in other areas of their life. I
Yes.
mentioned, that CEO who crushes it in the boardroom. They have the ability to do hard things in business,
Yes.
but they've allowed their business to take away from their physical health. And I
Yes.
feel like it's our job as coaches to draw that parallel, put them in, graded exposures of difficulty with physical challenges to show them that, hey, that those same structures, habits, cognitive makeups that allow you to be successful over here are going to be what allow you to overcome the barriers physically so that you can live a long life, be capable, and keep doing the business forever.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Are you familiar with the book The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek?
I am familiar with it. I have not read it, but
Okay,
I love me some Simon Sinek's.
fantastic book. And it was this book that kind of, I wouldn't say it reshaped the way I think, but it definitely affirmed a lot of the thoughts that I've had, and that you can't win at life. You can't win at business because there are no rules. There's no set timeline. Yes, we all die,
Yeah.
but the goal is to just keep playing the game.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? How do we just keep playing the game? So my next adventure is me figuring out how to just keep playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And I think you said a lot there that I encounter on a daily basis, and we can unpack.
Yeah,
And so
let's unpack it.
let's unpack some of that. So I would say let's deal with the CEO mindset and the very same skills that allow them to crush it in the boardroom and be successful at business are the very same skills that would have them have the physique and the lifestyle they want. In fact, I tell people, I said this is one of the very transforming your body and taking charge of your health and physical fitness is probably the number one thing or the only thing that you have 100% control over. You
Yeah.
don't have to you don't have to rely on anyone else. It's all you,
Yep.
right? So there are no bottlenecks except you. It comes down to you. I would say the big difference with CEOs and high performance business people is patience. They
Oh
have the
yeah.
mindset, right? They have the drive. They have the I'm gonna do this. But it's the Dunning Kruger effect. I can do everything. I'm gonna start everything at the top because this is who I am, and I get that. But guess what? Your body, dude, isn't ready to go there.
Hmm.
So we have to keep that mindset. We have to set our goals so that you have something to shoot towards so that you don't lose sight of where we want to go. We want to give you a little bit of the carrot, but you can't eat the entire carrot cart in week one or month number one. Your body has certain requirements that cannot be rushed. We can optimize it, but
Hmm.
the process is the process. And everybody's body is going to be different, and so we won't know that until we push the envelope a little bit and see what happens, but we don't want to break you. And so Cav and I, we talk about this. Our athlete HQ program is 12 months long, a full year, for that very reason, because a lot of CEOs are coming in. They're like, yeah, I want to get this, I want to get a six pack, and I want to do that, I want to do this, and then okay, great, let's see how you move. And I go, you can't move. We can't get you on a squat on a squat bar, right? We can't have you eat chicken and broccoli. That's not gonna fly. We have to make sure that you build some resilience and you build the necessary attributes, physical, a lot of physical adaptation, while keeping the goal in sight
Right.
to be able to walk you through it. And then the magic happens in the last 12 weeks, like
Hmm.
almost like a competition. When their body can handle it, we go, okay, let's hit go. Let's go time.
Let's
But
drop
if
the
you
hammer.
let's drop the hammer. But if you're not sleeping, if you're not getting enough sleep at night, you're not drinking enough water during the day, you eat one meal a day and you go out at night and you have some drinks, we can't push that machine. That machine isn't ready for what you want. So it's patience. To me, there's a gap between where they are, they have all the attributes, all the mental attributes, but you don't quite have the physical attributes. And now we require a little bit of patience to be with the process. The process is the goal. The process is the magic, is what I meant. That's really where it is, where that lies. So that's that first part. I think I forget what you were saying about this. I'm gonna
Well,
say.
I want to dive into the
Mm,
gap in patience here because I think it's important to recognize that initially we have to capitalize on that motivation, right? Like
yeah.
like that initial buy-in is so important. And I see this mistake made with a lot of young coaches where they'll have someone come in who's extremely motivated
Yep.
and they'll just quell that immediately and they'll be like, no, 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 no. We got to slow it down here. We got to start slow. This is a long-term process, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But you said something while you were talking. You glanced over it, and I think it was very important. You said, I need to give them a little bit of the carrot. How do you do that?
That's simple. I go, okay, this is what you want ultimately. Let's see where you're at now. Someone comes in, they go, hey, uh, I want to get this thing done. We do an assessment, and I realize that their ankles aren't great. They can't full squat deep beyond parallel. Below parallel is painful, or their limitations. Well, I'm not gonna put that person on a barbell squat. So I go, okay, great. We know there's no pain. Obviously, there's nothing contraindicated. So
Right.
there are no pain barriers where we would have to refer someone out. But I go, okay, you've got limitations, and I go here's where we want to get you to. We want to get you under a barbell squat. You want to squat like Paul and O'Neill. You want to squat 805,
Oof.
right? You want to squat 805. Great. I'm not gonna talk you out of it, but I'm just saying that's a lofty goal, but great. But here's where we're gonna go. We're not ready for that squat yet. But what we can do is we can do a step up. We can figure out where your limitations are. We can change some angles. We can change depth, knee depth, ankle flexibility, mobility. We can see what we can get. I want to see what we can do.
Hmm.
Not doing anything is not an option. Slowing everything right down is not an option unless there's pain, extreme pain and discomfort that we're not going to touch, that they need to be referred out to. But we find out what you can do. Your carrot is this is what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make you work as hard as you can with it, and I guarantee you're gonna feel satisfied because guess what? That's the win. And now I'm gonna show you why this is valuable, and this is why this particular thing is gonna get you to the full carrot. And that's why I keep it moving. So your point about people slowing it right down and sort of like killing everything
Oh,
that is that's a bummer.
you're not ready for that. We're gonna roll on the ground on a foam roller and do corrective exercise for
Yeah,
40 minutes of workouts. Like, get fucked, man. They
yeah,
didn't pay you to roll on the ground.
no, no,
Drives me nuts.
and we know that movement is almost always the key.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the worst things I did when I had the onset of my left arthritic hip, I didn't know what it was for a long time. It sort of flared up during COVID, and I didn't have anyone look at it. I kind of felt what it felt like. I didn't know what it was. But one of the worst things I did was not move on it. I couldn't. I basically stopped doing anything. We were sitting around for during pandemic, and I did not do not even 90% of what I would normally have done, and that likely I would say 100% was the worst
Yeah.
thing I could have possibly done. So we know that movement is the right thing. How much movement and what type of movement requires some thought and consideration, but never moving or not moving is absolutely not the idea.
That's one of the core tenets of my coaching is just getting people to move more,
Yeah,
whether it be more steps or harder training or more frequent training. Um, movement is to me the key because movement creates momentum. When you have that momentum, it's an anchoring habit to the other things that we're going to try and do. So I could like I use the term anchoring habits because an anchor holds you in one place.
yep,
And so I think in a lot of instances, people lack these anchoring habits, whether it be meal prep Sundays or whether it be um, their 4 training sessions that are scheduled in for the week.
yeah,
When you have these anchoring habits in place, you know that you have to train. So then you're probably going to focus a little bit more on your nutrition. And
yeah,
you're probably going to realize that you need a little bit better sleep.
yep,
And so you're going to change your schedule, which is going to help you manage your stress a little bit more.
yep.
And I came about this honestly because it's things that I had to do for myself when I started adding things to my plate. But at the end of the day, I was like, huh, well, if I can just figure out what that linchpin anchor habit is for each client and then build upon that, well, now we have momentum. We can capitalize on that buy in, and all of a sudden things get easier. But you and I both know getting people to move and to eat, that's the hardest thing. It's like oh, I want to get all these results, but I don't want to walk and I don't want to train and I don't want to eat the vegetables and the protein.
Yeah, yeah. And I would agree with you. And I would say at most, at my level, for most people, the exercise is the anchor. When I get people in regularly and I have them check in regularly and check their workouts in regularly, then I'm more likely to have to see them eat better, eat
Hmm.
on target. Sleep is a hard one. I think people can get away with a lot of sleep and they don't know what it feels. People can get away with
Oh
a
yeah.
little sleep, not know that they feel like crap until they actually get some sleep and go, hang on a minute. Oh, this is what it feels like when you
Oh
actually
dude,
sleep,
my
right?
sleep has been so trash for the last like 6 weeks. And then last night I had a little bit more carbs 2 days in a row, and I actually slept to my alarm
Yeah.
this morning. Oh, I'm firing on all
You feel it.
cylinders. I'm like, oh,
You know the
I
difference.
feel like I got a rocket up my ass.
Yeah, you know the difference, right? You
Mm.
absolutely know the difference, and and so for a lot of people, sleep is a very challenging one to get. But usually for my demographic, if I can get them in, if I can see them and I can physically get them to move, I'm more likely to have them eat better. And so it's kind of simple, but I 100% like the idea of having anchor habits. Um, and it came back to me. You had previously talked about um, having clients, people you work with, get new goals. That is always
Mm.
something to
Yeah.
work towards, right? And this happens all the time when I get high profile people or people that are very successful, and they keep pulling out pictures of me. Oh man, this is what I used to look like this is me like 10 years ago. I go, yeah, I get it. I understand. I understand. 10 years ago. Okay, great. You're now like 70 years old. You can get into whatever shape you choose to. but are you putting in the effort that you used to put in 10 years ago?
Right.
Right? So we have to be honest about it. I said, but here's what's next for you, John. It's not necessary for you to keep comparing yourself to what you used to be 10 years ago. There are other things for you to be. I said, we can be more athletic. We don't have to have a 2 pack or a 4 pack that you had 4 years ago, a 6 pack. We can be more athletic. We can actually be as fit without having the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
We can actually be more mobile, more agile,
Mm-hmm.
and stronger. And so let's you and I create a new conversation around what's possible for you right now in the next 3 to 5 years. And they go, oh, we could do that. I go, yeah. I said, but we can't look back into the rearview mirror trying to drive forward all the time. I think having an image is nice, but you keep looking back at what you used to have. Well, we can't focus on what's ahead, and you keep putting your energy back there, but we want to go that way, and let's redefine what we can do or what we want to do. So I think that is so important, particularly as we move in from one career to the other career and one phase of our life into another phase of life. And
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time. So that's an important conversation that
Yeah.
I try to have with people.
I had that conversation with a client of mine who was a very high level fitness competitor.
Yeah.
Now is a single mom of three children, two boys and a daughter who just went
Yeah.
off to college. She's had multiple back surgeries, just had a fusion, and she's seeing her fitness fade away.
Mm.
And objectively speaking, she's still in great shape, right? Still,
Right.
muscular, defined, lean. But for her, it's not. And she's also 51. Okay.
Yeah.
So she still has in the back of her mind her self-worth tied into the physique that she used to have. And I had that exact conversation. I said, hey, you are not able to do the things that you used to do simply because of the availability of time. Add to that your priority now is to be the best mother you can be.
That's right.
So rather than focus on this physique that, truth be told, I think you could get pretty close, let's focus on making sure that you can bend down to help your son put his hockey skates on. Let's focus on you being able to sit in a car and drive him to tournaments. Let's focus on you regaining your physical capacity so that you can feel confident in your own body. And let's see what happens to your physique as that mindset shifts. And it took her a really long time, especially with this client dealing with a history of eating disorder behavior, dealing with a whole ton of things that come along with fitness competitions as a female.
Yeah.
But there was a light bulb moment for her where she realized that, well, you know what? Right now, I can go for a walk every day. And so she started walking every day. And that was her anchor habit. And then she realized, hey, I can get a 20-minute workout in and do my core rehab. And so she started just slowly adding things in. And what she realized was her body didn't forget what she used to look like. And she started eating better and she started sleeping better and she started feeling less stress. And to me, those are the light bulb moments as a coach that matter so much more than any number on a scale, any PR on a platform, because you see the changes that this person's making to their
Yeah.
life. Like
Yeah.
that to me is so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, you remember what it was like when you first started to see your body transform and get that power. You remember, I know you remember what it was like. I
Dude, I
remember.
I sat in my car on Sunday crying because of what I look like. Like so proud of the fact that I look the way I do after the accident that I had. Like I get it deeply.
Yeah. So you know exactly what that client is feeling when
Yep.
they think it's like, I don't know, and then they start to get it. They start to change their identity, and we know identity is a huge part of it. But what's funny about identity, or what's really great about identity, is that you could change it anytime you feel like it.
A
You
hundred
can be
percent.
anything you choose,
100%. I like that. I like
right?
that a lot.
We could wake up Monday morning and say, look, I'm gonna be Batman for the next week. I'm gonna act like Batman. What does Batman act like? What does he talk like? More confident? Kind of like, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
But the truth is that we can change our identities anytime we choose to. And that's really a part that like that, those are the kinds of things that people don't hear enough of, and they get stuck in, oh my God, like this, like I used to have this and I don't have this and I can't do this, and the can'ts and I don't haves, and it's a slippery slope. But I also understand when you get into that rut and you fall into that hole, like I know it can be tough to climb out of it. So
Hmm.
that's where you and I, because we've had a taste of that, we can help people. We want to help people and we love it. And we have the patience, because I know you're a patient. You've never worked with me, but I don't have to work with you to know that you're patient and empathetic. Um, so yeah, and that's the beauty of it. And I can tell when you describe that story, like I feel what you feel.
Hmm. And I think that sort of a message is not perpetuated online nearly enough because
That no, it's not.
it's not sexy. It doesn't sell, and it's not going to get you clicks and likes. But unfortunately, that's what truly makes the bigger difference.
It does, it does. And like I just said, I like a lot of Zen stuff, and I really do believe that. And this is my journey. I've always been this way, but I also believe like learning how to be is more important is as important, if not more important, than learning how to be. And I think as we go through phases in our life, learning how to be with what shows up is a very important non-training skill set that enhances training. And so by learning how to be, you also learn how to adopt a different identity. You learn how to let go an old identity of a fitness competitor, a bodybuilder, a martial artist, someone who could, squat 500 pounds, and now you squat 225. Learning how to be with what shows up in your life allows you to adapt another identity easier or more easily. But it's also fun. It's
It
also
is.
fun.
It is. Listen, you said it at the beginning, training is life and life is training. I, I look at my training as this truly transformative aspect of my daily life. Um, our entire business model is built on training and nutrition as a vehicle for personal development.
I
And
dig it.
I have to be bought into that because that's what we're showing our clients. And so, for you, I made fun of you before we started because you showed up wearing,
Did you? You made fun of me?
you showed up wearing a vest and I'm in a homemade cut off t-shirt and a Yankees hat. Um, but you are a product of your product. You are, if you're coaching CEOs, you're showing up looking professional. If you are showing these people that physical fitness is possible at any age, you're 55 and you're fucking jacked. So you are a walking billboard for your business.
Yeah. And I want to create real relatability. I will do whatever it takes for someone to hear my words, what I'm saying, and also see who I'm being with you and get my intention. And if it takes me looking like you to a degree, it just so happens I like to dress up when necessary. I like to scrub up, so that works to my advantage. But I want to show you that I am like you, and whatever it is that you think that I don't understand, if I don't understand it, I'm willing to listen.
Mm.
And I'm willing to learn. And I believe I have the tools to help you. But if I don't, I will say so. But here I am, and I'm like you, and we're all connected. And I don't want to make it like it's all kumbaya. But the point is, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for you to know that I'm willing to meet you wherever you're at. And if it means I need to look a certain part, I am my own product, and I like to dress. But I'm also like I get why you also dress that way. So here we are. Let's have a conversation.
Talk to me about Zen Gary.
Zen Gary. That's a nickname that one of my very favorite my all-time favorite clients some years back, Leslie Garner, she used to go, oh, she used to call me Zen Gary. Oh my God, Zen Gary. Um, Zen Gary is very much I could sit on the beach all day long. Granted, I'm from Trinidad
Mm-hmm.
and Tobago, but nonetheless, my personality has always lent itself to being able to be an observer and a listener more than a speaker. So there is something inherent to me. I tend to be more calm than uptight, and so It's always something that's been on my mind. It was always something that would always I would gravitate to, which is, the meaning of life and who am I and what is this thing that I'm thinking? Who is thinking my thoughts? And am I really my thoughts? So that's my personal, well, I mean, life, this is my life. I am being me in my life.
Right.
And and it happens that my passion and my skill set is that I love to train, I love to coach, and physical fitness is what I'm good at. And there's no separation between Zen Gary and Gary the coach. There's no
Yeah.
separation, right? I am those two are one and the same. So I read stuff. I read as much as I can. Uh, I will listen to lots of different people. And one of my favorite people to listen to is Alan Watts and read some of his stuff. I like Joseph Campbell. And I will immerse myself in anything that will allow me to find something new about myself.
Hmm.
So to me, if I discover something about myself that I did not previously know, or another level to that, then I think, yeah, that's gold to me. And so I love everything about the contemplative aspects of being and living life.
You said something there that really resonated with me, and it's something that I really strive to do this because people will assume I'm a very level guy, right? I don't get
Yep,
very high, I don't get very low. Um, I would consider myself to be very stoic.
write your story.
But people assume that that means that I don't feel things deeply. But the reality is I feel things very deeply.
Yeah,
My loved ones will tell you, like, I love with my whole heart, and
yeah,
I serve others with everything that I have. And I think that's why I've thrived as a coach. But observing and listening, to me, are two of the most important skills that you can develop, because I think in a lot of instances, if you do have an ego, you almost feel the need to speak simply to hear yourself talk, or speaking to affirm some sort of external validation. I have no problem waiting until I have something to say.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that allows me to be responsive in my communication rather than reactive in my communication. And it's also what allows me to hold up a mirror to my clients, because I'm listening and I'm observing them and I'm taking in as much information as possible, so that when they're ready to hear what I have to say, it's going to be more meaningful.
yeah, yeah. And I know that the truth is a lot of people are listening only because they're waiting to get their response back.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. They're waiting for their turn just to say something
Yeah.
and to add to it. And sometimes, I had this motto for a while, and I said, "May my silence be more accurate." Not every,
Oh,
not everybody appreciate that motto, but I really do. That means a lot to me. May my silence be more accurate, right? And if you, depending on how deep people want to go, what makes everything worthwhile is that there is nothing in between.
mm,
The only way a sentence makes sense is that there's punctuation that makes nothing. So you can start the next sentence, right? So by definition, you have to have nothingness to have something,
right.
right?
That's yeah. That's an old. Uh, my goodness, what's his name? Oh, Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl.
Viktor
He's
Frankl,
said the only thing that you own is the time between stimulus and response.
right? And so those gaps are really important
Very important.
to hold that space and hold a gap. Those things are important for anything else to mean something, for it to have
Mm-hmm.
meaning. So I love that, and I love that you said that, and I'm all about it. But sometimes not everybody is willing to sit with it, and certainly you go to. I don't know how you feel about going to, like, because I know you're not a small talk guy. I know you can have a great conversation,
Right.
but if you go out, do you ever feel like, well, I have nothing to say to these people, or like, how does this
Often.
often, right? Because I feel like I'm similar, and I don't mind talking to people, but I also don't want to talk about nothing. So,
I also don't want to talk about training and nutrition.
so what do you think? How do you think I want to? How do
How
I
do I
leave
get
this?
how do I get rid of this?
How do I get rid of this? How do I get rid of that?
Ugh, it's mind numbing to me. Um,
Well, that's interesting, and there's so much more to you than people would know because it's your this muscle and mass coming in. And the interesting point that you said is that you're more on the stoic side, and so you don't get too high or too low. You're very even keel. I like that. I like equanimity. It's a
Love
word
that
that I
word.
love, right? So when you live by equanimity, people can often misconstrue that as that you don't care or you don't feel stuff, and I think that's such a huge miss when people think that.
I agree. I think I think a big part of how I've managed to overcome that, especially recently, is sharing more. Right? Just publicly sharing more about my journey, sharing more
Yeah,
about my feelings, sharing more about the way that I use my demeanor to shape my reality.
right.
And that's actually brought a lot of people in. And from a business perspective, it's been fantastic because I think people strive to have an approach to life more similar to mine because it's a lot less chaotic. Right? I don't get stressed.
Yeah,
I just
I mean, I kind of see that, and I like that characteristic, and I think everybody should strive it. I don't think there's a negative side to that. I think who wants to be stressed and who wants to respond in a way without being thoughtful and okay, let me sit. Am I upset because that person said that, or am I upset because there's some truth to it? Like,
mm-hmm,
why am I upset? So I would agree with you. And so the thing about what you just said in your last newsletter about optimization and volume,
mm-hmm,
it really encompasses all of it because people, the thing that I really don't like, people talk about hustle culture and the
oh
grind.
yeah,
This never sit well with me. It's never sat well with me. And so your piece about really being selective and really looking and see, are you just doing more because it's expected of you, or are you really zeroing on what's really relevant and actually producing results? And that's all of what we kind of just covered over the last couple of minutes is about who you being, who do you want to be. Is this is just putting out material or volume making you stressed, or is it making you happier? Are you getting results, or are you just being busy? And I think that's all of what you just said.
yeah. When you said Zen Gary, the first thing that popped into my mind is nothing is good or bad. You just make it so.
You just make it
It's
so.
one of my favorite quotes from Buddha. Um, Gary, let's do some quick hit questions, man. What's your favorite part about living in New York City? It's one of my favorite places to visit. So
When was the last time you were in New York City?
2024.
Okay. My favorite thing in New York City is the energy about New York City in the summer, all year round,
Hmm.
and specifically summertime. And one of the things, specifically as a result of the energy, is the spontaneity of things that can occur on any given New York day. You can walk down the street and you can see a block party,
Yep.
or you could walk down the street and you could see two guys like fisticuffs, big cuss out. It's unpredictable, but it keeps you on your toes, and the energy is fun, but it also keeps you adventurous.
Yeah, we I took Liv there for her birthday. I think it was 2023. We were there for 3 days. We got 77,000 steps over 3 days,
Ooh.
and we ate everything that we possibly could. It was unbelievable. I love New York City.
Did you have a favorite thing that you ate?
Yeah, funny enough, it was the chicken fingers at the Yankees game. They were so good.
You went to a Yankees game? You watched baseball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, what's been your proudest accomplishment as an athlete?
that's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if I could. I don't. My proudest moment as an athlete. I've had so many. I've had a couple, not so many. I would say the hardest thing I've ever done is martial arts, Muay Thai, competitive Muay Thai.
Hmm.
It was an endeavor that I had no idea what I was getting into. And the training is so challenging. And at the time when I first started, I'd been weight training and all about strength. And this is nothing like that. And so it taught me that I could do anything I decided to do. I decided to do. It was just so tough. It was endurance based. It was rotational. Um, so that gave me a badge of honor internally, and I believe that once you're a martial artist amongst your peers, you're always respected. You're part of a community. They never let you go.
Hmm.
They always continue. So I would say that is my probably overall my proudest achievement and my proudest community to be a part of.
What are you most excited about right now? Good questions, eh?
I think I'm gonna have to hit escape now. I'm most excited. I'll be honest with you. I'm most excited about where the possibilities that exist for my professional career.
Hmm.
I'm at a place in life where I almost have a blank slate. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if anything will come, what will come,
Hmm.
but I do know that I am creating. And so that's scary. It's called, we call that living in the unknown,
I love that.
right? And I like living in the unknown. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think you are because you're just stoic and you have equanimity. I think we do well there. But there are degrees of it.
Absolutely.
And so here I'm at right now in my career. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I know where I want to go, and I have some pathways, but I don't know where it leads to, and I don't know where it ends. I have a
That
vision of it. So
that
yeah,
is exciting. That's super
it's exciting.
exciting.
It's exciting. It's super exciting.
If you had a billboard on the side of the highway that everyone would read as they drove by, what would it say?
I'm gonna go deep because this is where my mind is at right now. I'm gonna quote Joseph Campbell because it's almost a daily thing I think about. The billboard would say, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek."
I fucking love that. I love that. That's one of my favorite billboard quotes.
That's it,
Um,
man.
the last question I have for you: if there was one person that you would like to see me interview on the podcast, who would it be? But the caveat is that you have to help me get them on.
Woo. Well, I'd like to go big. I mean, I'd like to go. Well, before I answer this, and I'll be quick. Um, what do you want to see with the podcast? Do you just want it to blow up,
Well, obviously.
or do you want to go really like this is the most informative podcast you've ever had?
Well, I'd like a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. All right. Uh, that's a great question. I like a lot of different people, but I would say if you could get someone on there,
Well, you have
I,
to help me get them on. That's the caveat. It's who do you want to see me interview, but
I would like
you
to
got to
see.
you got
I'd
to
like to
get them
see
on.
interview Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but you can't get me Joe Rogan.
But I can help you. Okay, somebody I literally can help you get.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to message them for me. That's the plan.
Oh, that's the plan. All right.
Yeah,
This is an unfair question,
I
Paul.
know.
So
I get my guests to do my job for me.
this is unfair. Really, what you're asking me is who I want to reach out to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. All right. I've got someone who I think is worth you interviewing. His name is Alex Rears, who I can absolutely get you on his podcast, and I think he would provide immeasurable benefit to all listeners.
What does he do?
I've known Alex Reyes for about 15 years. He used to be a fitness coach, used to be on the medical side of things, but he is now a life coach and he works with a men's coaching program. He has his own men's coaching program. It's called Awaken the Dragon, and I think it's extremely valuable for men to identify and understand aspects about themselves and what they bring to the table. And being a man, and the last thing I'll say about is being a man is starting to become a lost art,
Agreed.
including the aspects of being a man that even I myself have overlooked and have missed out on, was never taught. And so it's a valuable program in today's society.
Dude, I love that. If you can make that happen, that'd be great.
Yeah, we can do it. We can make that happen.
Gary, thank you so much for joining me today, man. This was an amazing conversation. Went down a lot of rabbit holes that really are resonating with me and where I'm at in my life right now. And it was a pleasure to share it with you.
Well, you're amazing. Thanks for having me on. I know that you are a very busy individual doing all the things that business requires, but also living your life,
Oh, stop.
including getting ready to compete. And that takes every bit of energy that you have. So thanks for having me on. It's my pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. I'll have links to where everyone can find you in the show notes. Everyone, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You got it.